Hello and welcome to the Vyrós recap.
Yeah.
What a time. We had a time. Oh, we had a time last weekend.
I love we so black and churchy. We so black and churchy. I love it.
I'm
What a time.
telling you, if you were not at Vyrós 2025, the release, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry that you could not be there with us. This is my first, and I regret that I was not at the first. Um, because this was good. Oh, this was good, y'all. So, if you don't remember, my name is Jaurice Clay, and I had the absolute pleasure and honor of emceeing the VIP Legends Night and corresponding with a lot of the community. I literally was able to touch all of the community in some way, shape, form, or fashion via an interview, an interaction, conversation, intentional connection. And so, with that, I am severely suffering from withdrawal. And because of that withdrawal, that VROS, VROS is in my veins right now. And because I am going through this process of feeling emptied out because I can't be around the community right now, I had to bring it back and come back to its creator, inventor, CEO, the man of the hour. I had to come back and have a conversation with Aaron Victor because I need a refill. Can I get a refill? Like, I need more. Okay. And so, with that, Aaron, how are you today?
Hey, listen, when you get the opportunity to be with amazing people, to really start locking into destiny, purpose, having safety to explore, really having just a genuinely good time. It goes, so I'm going back to work for what? I'm
Right?
going back into the real world to do what? Like, this is the work. This is what it's supposed to be. So I think all of us are having a little bit of hangover right now, that means that we did our job individually of making sure that we got everything we could out of it. Shout out to you, who really picked up on the culture right away, that created an experience that I don't even know if people really got kind of that odorless gas to get them to relax, that you are. It's everybody's thinking through what's next, what do we do next, and so it's everybody got it. Listen, from the speakers on
Yeah.
stage I've already talked to, everybody's got like, so what are we supposed to do?
What's life supposed to be like now? Like, it was so good. It was so good. And I thank you for making this experience a boutique experience. One of the things I remember in the planning sessions and in our conversations, you were intentional about making this a boutique experience, not trying to get the money in the masses. We ain't trying to target 300 to 3,000 people. We want this to be a cultivated quality experience instead of trying to get to the quantity. Why is that the intention? Why do you want to maintain such an intimate uh, focused community in VRAS?
It's a fantastic question. I think for me, I've had an opportunity as a church kid to be a part of like big churches. And one of the things that if you don't grow up in a big church, a church that was small and became quote unquote a mega church, people who come into it feel like they get lost.
Mm.
And so what happens is that when people feel like they're lost, church, and just using this example, pulling it through, church turns into a revolving door. They join the church, and then man, I ain't seen Sister Jaurice, I ain't seen Brother Aaron in 6 weeks. Anybody know about them? No, they didn't. So then it starts turning to this revolving door, which doesn't allow for people to stay connected. The
Mm.
hardest thing that people are still having right now, getting back even from the pandemic, is getting connected and staying connected. It is the human, it is the human desire is to have community. The Bible talks about it, calls it communion, koinonia. How do we stay connected to each other? And so when we're not connected, we're not at our best. And
Mm.
so it's easy to kind of do these masses, these cattle calls and everything else. And for there is a place for that. That's just not my call.
Mm.
My call is to be able to curate an environment in which people feel heard, seen, and valued, safe to explore for the first time, the good, the bad, the ugly, and a spot where they can be uplifted and walk away hopeful in the transformation that they're experiencing. And I just don't know that you can do that unless you eyeball to eyeball, one on one, being able to get that level of connectivity with people. And so that is quickly becoming the DNA of what VROS is.
That is beautiful. I mean, I watched even the owners of the space, and I know that there's a connection between you and the owners of Perique at Brandywine, the beautiful event space where we were for the past few days. To have them even say, we're going to go beyond allowing this space to be used, we are going to immerse ourselves in the community and be part of this experience as well. You don't see that. You don't see people, vendors, uh, really attaching to the content of a place where they are there to serve, if you will. And I mean, the family that owns Perique at Brandywine, which I know personally as well, is a beautiful family. And to have literally the sisters and the nieces and everyone come be part of the experience, like, you have something special when the support team wants to be immersed and supported as well. And you did your big one with that one. You created a beautiful space.
All
You
right, thank
did.
you. I mean, it's one of the things that you look at businesses, and of course it's huge now, but you look at the very essence of Disney. Disney is a space in which everybody can come.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's lessons that all of us have talked about from stage over the weekend that had I gotten when I was younger, that I would be in a different place. And so
Mm.
to be able to see, our bartender, and we say bartender loosely for y'all to be out here tripping like they was drinking, no wonder they had a good time. They was in there getting lit.
Mm.
Easy. You can have fun and get lit without being drunk.
Lit on the Lord, okay?
We proved that. But for her to have her to trust our environment enough to actually have her daughter, to
Mm-hmm.
have her daughter to be able to serve with her from a content perspective, from a safety perspective, because the community, you do have men in this day and age, it is crazy. But for her daughter to feel safe, her daughter to be excited, actually didn't want to go to school the next day because she had so much fun being with us and being able to be plugged in. That says a lot about the team. That says a lot about the culture that we're building in this brand to allow for anybody from as young as 11, 12 to as old as we got during our time together to 88 to feel comfortable, to feel valued, and be a part of the community. We're very, very thankful about that.
Beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful, Aaron. I want to ask. I have a couple of questions that I have for you. I just want to know, because I regretfully again missed last year.
Hold
Won't
on.
do it
Can we
again.
pause for a second? I want to
Yes.
pause it. Right there, right there. We gonna get this on camera. So everybody who watching this, I gotta pause this. Because I let it go the first time. And she said this a few times during the weekend. But I'm not letting it go no more. So here I'm gonna tell you why I'm not letting it go. It's because she got engaged. She got engaged. Like I've seen the videos. I've seen the content. It was a beautiful experience.
It was.
Girl, if you don't go be with your fiance
At that time,
at that
fiance.
time and don't be fooling with us,
Yeah.
but again, I want y'all to understand part of why I want to pause that is because there was a woman and her husband who came last year, Natasha and JT. They came last year, part of the first ever VROS, and they didn't come this year because he wanted to celebrate his anniversary with his wife away from the venue. And I told her, I said, don't you have no guilt? Don't you feel away? You go be with your husband. I
Yeah.
said, no, we're gonna figure out how we don't conflict because you're a very valuable part of the community that we want to be around us at any time. But you're gonna be very clear. We're about priorities and connections. So you was getting engaged and she had to go celebrate her anniversary with her husband. Girl, you ain't got to apologize for that, child. Be
Noted. Yes, I was getting engaged last year during the VRI season, so I won't apologize anymore. But I, while I added so much in that experience last year to my life, this added so much valuable. valuable keys, tools, and relationships this year. I want to know from you, Aaron, between last year and this year, in your in your opinion, what what was the difference? What changed? What improved? What elements were key this year that maybe had not occurred last year?
So I think one of the things that I think is key is that we had some semblance of what the heck we were doing. Like last year, it felt like a fire drill. It was like you hurry up and get in, and then boom, before it's over, we out that thing. And so last year was like a day and a half. Where this year, if you combine kind of 2 half days into the 2 full days, we were there like three full days, but over technically 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a level of kind of confidence we had that we knew what we could do. We kind of knew what was happening. We knew we had the right decor team. We knew we had the right food, catering team. We knew we had the right DJ. Where all that stuff we were kind of filling out in the moment. So I think that level of comfort gives you an opportunity to kind of pull your brain up and kind of think through some other stuff. Like when I think about one of the components that I still feel bad about because I learn different than other people. My brain goes different, and I kind of excuse me, an environment based on how I learn. Is we didn't have monitors or screens last year. I
Mm.
thought that was a key component just
Yeah.
for people who are visual learners. And also from an aesthetics perspective, it actually came out really cool when you look at some of the videos and the pictures on how we set things up on the stage. So those kind of pieces give you a chance to kind of hone into the details because you're not running around like a crazy person.
Yeah.
I thought we did a good job of even being even more intentional with the gifts that we gave to the participants that were
Yeah.
coming. Whether you were a legend or whether you were um, a general admission hero, it didn't matter. We wanted to be very intentional that you felt that we thought about you and your growing, learning, developing experience in all the ways possible to do that. So here's what I say we did as y'all see here putting up all the
Like
gifs and
all
stuff,
the swag, all the swag.
is it's a quote I threw out to the team maybe 6 weeks before, if that much, before we got to Vyrós and we were working on it. It was from a book called Unreasonable Hospitality. And the
Mm.
author talks about in the book, he got it from somebody that he fired, that he didn't fire. He was hiring, and they actually didn't get the job. But they mentioned in their interview is that service is in black and white, hospitality is in color.
Ooh.
And so, service can always be, hey, you had a good meal, we shot good videos, the building looks good. But how do people feel warm? How do you create the experience that people feel welcomed? And when people feel welcomed, now all of a sudden you get a chance to make them feel safe. They drop their guards. Now it's easier for them to receive things from the stage. It's easier for them to connect with people they don't know. It's easier for them to be able to go through this journey of transformation, or as we said this year, to release the things that they need to release. It's easier when they feel when hospitality is present. And
Mm.
so I thought we did an amazing job of adding the hospitality piece because we actually knew the technical service piece.
Yes. You all did a phenomenal job. I say you all as if I'm not part of the team. But in terms of the ideation of that side, and the development of that side, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. You talked about the swag. I'm like, it was next level. It was beautiful. The quality of the books, the journals, the portfolio, the pens. I mean, the branding was beautiful. It was chef's kiss. Like everything was top notch. And I know that this was a labor of love. Can you just explain to me though why this is my favorite book? This is my favorite journal. And first of all, I'm not a journaler. I don't journal. Not because I'm like strongly against it for whatever reason, but I'm just not a journaler. I'm like, somebody finds that stuff and reads my story. Oh my goodness, what happens? Uh bridges burn, relationships ended. No, I'm just kidding. But everybody's not me. Some people are journalers. The quality of this book, hardcover, I mean, several pages, date stamps at the top. Why? Why? Why did you give such quality items? Even the luggage tag. There was a luggage tag, y'all. Why? Can you just talk about this journal and talk about the luggage tag at least?
Yeah, so I think that's the hospitality piece. It's, we started that book or journal last year. And what I wanted people to understand, and understanding with Vyrós, it is a foundational principle that we build off of these golden hour moments in our lives. What are the golden hour moments? There's the golden hour happens twice a day. It happens with the sunrise and it happens with the sunsets. And so if you talk to photographers, videographers, they usually try to catch those moments and they have apps to catch them now because when the golden hour moment happens in the morning or in the evening, you don't need any additional lighting. It is the perfectly lit moment of every day and it happens twice a day.
Hmm.
And so when you understand that these things happen, that the golden hour moment of the sunrise means that there's something on the horizon that gives you the ability to get excited about what's to come. It's the
Mm.
excitement and the anticipation of the new day. It's the, oh, I've never experienced this. What's going to happen? But then you also get a chance to see the sun set on something old, where no matter how fulfilling it is, it was good or it could be bad, but there's something setting. It's old, it's going away. And so, how do we prepare for those times? Reflection of what's setting, excitement for what's coming. And I wanted people to really feel that at this moment in their lives where they're answering that whisper, that thing that they've been ignoring, that now they feel free to explore and to connect with people, now is the time for you to be able to start rewriting your story.
Yes.
Now is the time to be able to get the things out of your head and put it on paper. Now is
Mm.
the time to be able to start saying, my life is not just reduced to being able to hear other people's thoughts and other people's stories. I want to actually start rewriting mine in real time while I'm here. And so the reason it's hard covered is I wanted people to feel like they were writing their own story and being able to value their ability to write their own story in these golden hour moments that allow for them to be anticipating what's coming, but also to be reflective on what's left and knowing that what's in front of them is greater than what's behind them.
It's so funny that you mentioned that because while I say I don't journal, I've been writing, I've been keeping my notes and inspirations from Vyrós in that hardcover journal. And I've been writing ideas that I'm ready to grow and expound upon in that journal. That's my story. That's my journal. That's the way I do it. So I can't say I don't journal. I'm writing my story. I'm literally writing my story. That was a clear revelation in real time. Thank you for that. So let me ask you this. In the release,
Mm-hmm.
were you able to release? And at what point did you feel your release happen? A running joke between you and I, as you know, we've had our last interview. Um, the at what point did you say and you released, like that was your release phase, almost like your aha moment, but we call it the release phase. So at what point did you have your release?
Uh, I think for me, I was trying to have moments to kind of reflect and be like, ah, that worked. Oh, that was good. So I'm navigating kind of two hats. I'm navigating the hat of the curator, orchestrator, leader to make sure all the pieces are in place. I know what's supposed to happen at this moment, that moment. So there, it wouldn't go a moment. Sometimes if there was something I knew needed to get done, I had no problem with, hey, let's move that chair over here. Let's take that over here. Let's grab these and put that out. It's like because it's about the service of the moment of the in the release that we called Vyrós this year. It was about just service. So whoever needs to serve, if somebody's missing because they're doing something else, let's just go get it done because the people don't need to feel that there's something missing. So you got that one moment that makes it a little conflicting. Then you go on the other side of it is when I'm sitting in people's sessions and I'm listening to, what they're talking about. As far as release, mm, I think it was probably a couple of moments where, maybe it was Adam's first talk, maybe Josiah's reflection through his journey, his passion, roadmap journey, and passion and purpose. Um, but I think it was. like a culmination. I don't know if there was one moment for me, and for me it was more of, oh, this is new. Oh, this is a revelation. Oh, this is how we need to steward this. It was almost a lot of forward thinking that actually was confirmation on things that I probably last year,
Mm-hmm.
and that's gonna be over there.
Okay.
And then instead of
I want to know what's next. Not giving it all away, but what are the people to do? I'm telling you, it's been a struggle and it's only Tuesday. I got home Sunday. I had to take a nap. Like I came home, my 4.5-year-old is so excited, and I'm overly excited to see her and my husband because after the engagement came the wedding. So yeah, um, officially married. Excuse me, but after all of that being full and all of that amazing time with amazing people, I had to come down. I was upstairs. I was up there. And I'm like, I have to slowly walk down. I can't just drop back into reality. Mm-mm. Because I was taken too far up. So I had to come home and take a nap. I literally just closed my eyes. I didn't unpack. I I did nothing. And my daughter laid with me. We laid across the bed and she came and laid with me. She did not sit still, but she tried. But she ultimately decided that she needed to give mommy a moment. I had to come down because I was so full. So now what? What are the people of the community left to do after such an amazing weekend with one another? Because I'm feeling it. I need to see y'all next weekend.
so here's a couple things that we're working on right now. Um, is you always, it's just for anybody who's watching this, I would always encourage you to take a moment to reflect. And so, us as a team, we're going to actually have a reflection session to give people time to kind of think through their heads, what worked, what didn't work, how do we make this better, really talk about kind of from a different angles, from the video part of it to Jaurice's hosting part of it to the speaking part to the orchestration part of it to, like, we want to be able to kind of get this holistic kind of view of what made Vyrós 2025, the release, really good. So we got to do that. I think that's what I want to call it, stewardship. I think it would
Mm-hmm.
be irresponsible for us not to have that moment of reflection, because then whenever you do something else, whether it's a Vyrós or it's a mastermind, you don't know the principles or the things that made it successful. So now it turns into a fluke or you're guessing every time. So we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna do that. I am. I just made a decision this morning that we're gonna host, and you'll see that communication coming out. Also, a feedback session specifically from the community, so it gets the community opportunity to get together, and so giving them an opportunity to come back and say, "Hey, so how's it been since you've been gone? What have you been thinking through? What does that look like? How do we make it better? What do you want to see?" So also hearing it from them as well, who went through the experience that we tried to curate, and being able to make sure that we have that. Then on the next Wednesday, so this is going to come out sometime during the first week of October. The first time we'll get together online will be I believe it's October the 15th, that
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday. And we're going to get together. That's typically when we meet online. And we'll talk about what's next. Because what we wanted to be able to do, and shout out to my sister who was there. She says, I love the fact that y'all really had us applying things and going more workshoppy and not just talking and sermon-ish, that
Mm-hmm.
people walked away with stuff. So we actually worked on you having a GPS or a roadmap, as you got back into your regular life, because once the emotions come down, now we got to ask ourselves the questions, what do we do?
Yep.
Because it wasn't just about this being an emotional event. This was an emotional moment that allowed for you to be able to see hope, to be able to reignite your faith, to say, I can be now consistent in where I'm going because I understand my distractions. I'm clear on my destination. I'm not going to trip on the detour. I understand the power of my story. How do we navigate delays? How do I stay connected? Like, all those things kind of played out. And when you put that in that GPS framework that Kurt and I talked about, now all of a sudden you have your roadmap to go execute. And so now it's time for us to encourage and keep people accountable through that opportunity, because we know the biggest part of the year that has the most distractions is Q4. Q4, you got, for a lot of people, they got four holidays. You got Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not intentional about how you move through Q4, you'll get off to a slow start in Q1.
Mm. Wow, that's true. That's real truth. Um, okay, so we've got work to do. We've got conversations to have. We're going to talk about uh, what's good, what could be potentially revamped or rediscovered. Let me ask another question. Why the people? Why the incredible, kind, loving, genuine people? How did you connect to the team? I'm thinking of CJ, Candace, Korshawn, Farian, like Kurt and his crazy self. Shout out Kurt the Connector. Like why all these people? Why um of course we know why Ebonique, but why did you choose this team? Why? Because they are just beautiful people.
Yeah, it's I would love to say I was like super brilliant and all in creating the team. But I can say one thing I can say about every person, they've intentionally added value to my life.
Mm.
And we had an opportunity over a consistent period of time to give us the moment to say, hey, if there's something that you're doing, or they've encouraged me in things that I was doing prior to Vyrós that I'm going, hey, do y'all want to come through? And so, I think that's part of just being able to take consistent steps, what we're asking people in the community to do. And I would tell for anybody who's watching this, take consistent steps in the direction that you desire to go. You might not know all the how. You might not know the twists and the turns. You might not know the left and the right. You might not know the pause, the speed, and the go fast. Like you might not know any of that. But if you're consistent with taking the steps in the right direction, then you're going to end up with the connections that you need to, that people that are looking for opportunities to serve in the capacity you need it, and you'll start closing the gap from where you are to ultimately where you want to be. And so that's actually my story. That's how I met them. I met Candace. I wanted to go get certified on a different way of being able to understand people's personality so I could be a better coach in my job and in my business efforts. That's how I met her. CJ and I met as we were part of a cohort with Deeper Than the Brand, and that gave us an opportunity to understand how to be able to create content and have better presence online. Part of that Deeper Than the Brand piece, Kurt was one of the coaches that actually was running the community, and so there was a consistent level of connection there. That in all of the push and all the things that we were learning, CJ told me at one point, Aaron, I believe you're the voice of now. Kurt kept pushing and saying, Aaron, you got some things that you need to be able to do, and don't hold back on it. So then you kind of go with how does Korshawn get in the mix? Well, CJ and I one time were hosting a Deeper Than the Brand event, and he was one of the video guys, and I just like, hey man, I just love the work that you do, man. Would you mind coming to do some work with us? And so it kind of went from there. So there, every person that was there is connected to somebody else that I trust, or we had a different level of connection. And when I tell people that when they go, Aaron, I don't know where to start. I don't know who's going to help me. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I truly believe it because I live it out that everything, all you have is everything you need.
Mm.
All you have is everything you need. And
Mm.
so, if we can shift ourselves not just into the perspective to be positive, but in the revelation, then you'll be able to see that there's been beautiful things, beautiful relationships, beautiful resources that you've been connected to the whole time. And it actually removes all the excuses that you've created in your head that you can't do what you know you're supposed to.
Wow. Wow. Aaron, you I don't know where this brilliance comes from. I really don't.
God is very kind to me.
He is. He's been kind to all of Denise's kids, me included, because I, added myself to the family. Kurt needs to know that I was added to the family before he was. I was added to the family the night before. So he's actually the fifth. Okay. He just needs to know that I'm the fourth. Anyway, um, from your talk to Dr. A, your sister Angela, to Black Adam, as he's been now. knighted as Black Adam. Um, and Josiah and Dr. Joy Challenger Slaughter. Like, mm, I'm telling you, all of the conversations, all of the talks had nugget after nugget after nugget after nugget. One for me, if you don't mind my sharing,
Yeah, please share a nugget.
was from Black Adam.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think I
When
know which way you're
you
going.
know where I'm
Mm-hmm.
going,
Mm-hmm.
when I asked the question in front of the group, who infected me?
Mm-hmm.
I've got to know who
Mm-hmm.
infected me.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if I don't know
Mm-hmm.
who did it, I do know that I'm infected. I've been
Yes.
infected with fear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so as I shared with the community, it's time for me to suck out that poison, suck out that infection, and make sure that no remnants of it leak over into my daughter,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want her to have any touch of the fear that I've had. And my fear has not been fear of failure. My fear has been fear of success, because if I'm successful, that means then I have to be held accountable. And that means that I have to continue to do the work
Mm-hmm.
and continue and not just do the work to better myself, to improve upon. That was good. Okay, now I have to add. Okay, now I have to go forward and add more. So I have to keep building and level setting. So my my release this weekend was the release of fear. Was one of the nuggets, and I know like there were several points that we've already talked about that really stuck with you. But what's another nugget that you could just share with the community, that they may have missed if they did not join us this past weekend?
Oh man, it's fantastic weekend. As I kind of go through, because I was a little bit all over the place, and there's a part of me, I'm gonna have to be honest of what I heard people's feedback on some stuff I said that feels weird, quoting myself, but we'll get to it. I think Joy did a great job. If I just go through the talks, Dr. Joy did a great job of being able to talk through navigating delays.
Mm-hmm.
That a lot of people have a tendency to make conclusions during delays when there actually are just a point in your life where you may pause, whether it was intentional by you, it might have been unintentional because you got distracted, but the power of delays and
Mm-hmm.
being able to how to navigate those. My sister on the first night talking through the power of your story because your story makes you human.
Yes.
I thought that was brilliantly beautiful, especially in the day of AI and machine learning and algorithms, is that we're missing the humanity piece. We're missing that connectivity piece that really makes us special. We go to Josiah. Passion and purpose actually can happen. And I love the fact that he built his life around a game that he loves so he could be present for the ones that he loves. So
Mm.
he could be a hero to those people. Um, then my sister talks about her advocacy again in the marketplace with her passion, for women of color and how the metrics and the numbers of fatalities and different weird outcomes that are happening are higher in one people group, and how that gives her the ability to actually, as Joe talked about, have passion and purpose in the marketplace, and it just doesn't have to be something that's in the four walls of a church.
Mm-hmm.
Um, of course, when you talk about Adams, his zombie apocalypse, talking, not knowing that we've all been infected, understanding our access points and when did those things happen to us, and then not just being able to identify it, but then being able to remediate it, knowing that those different things happen. Kurt and I talking through the GPS framework
Mm-hmm.
and, destinations, delays, destinations, detours, and distractions, that can actually help you or keep you from getting to your goals, your principles, and leveraging the systems. And so, people talk to me about, and it literally was a story that came to me in the moment, via the Holy Spirit, thank God, is the semi conversation. So it's
Mm.
interesting to hear people say, I got to
Mm-hmm.
find my semi, or I found my
Yep.
semi, or I'm
Yep.
following two semis. So like that was, again, for something that actually wasn't written and planned, but I actually had written it for a previous version of my book that didn't make it, for people to say, find your semi. Even with Dr. LaRonda, she had some spaces in there where people started reflecting and writing down on, she pushed people to actually understand how they were feeling, and being able to be safe to be actually be able to feel that. And I remember when I got on stage afterwards to kind of push us towards lunch, is, when I kind of concluded that this all kind of pulls itself together. The first night I talked about the antidote to spiritual dysmorphia is God's truth, God's love, and God's people. And it was beautiful and encouraging to hear as I'm going through God's truth, God's love, and God's people. There are people saying it out loud as I'm going through it.
Yes.
So listen, it was brilliant. The community is going to get access to the replays that are coming. Some of you all might be saying, hey, how do I get access to those? Those sound really good too. We'll make those available as well. But it is those are things that if you just ran all of those talks back through your filter while you're working out, while you're at work, while you're cleaning the
Hmm.
house, and you did that for 12 months straight, you don't need no other information, no other sermon, no other book. If you ran all of those from the VIP night until the end, to Adam preached at worship, I promise you your life gonna be different. I promise.
Yeah, it really will be. You know, you mentioned Dr. LaRonda. One of the things that inspired me so much is her talking about how after she had a baby, 3 weeks after she had a baby, she started her PhD program. Now, anybody else would have said, you know what? I got a new baby. I'm going to wait. Let me hold tight. This will come around again. But she drove into her purpose. She drove hard into what it was that she was meant to do, what she was supposed to be doing. And that baby came along and that baby got a PhD as well, right? So now they are both doctors, if you will. But like that was just so inspiring and so motivating. If you, since you, it's hard to talk about yourself, I'll recap. You talked about the GPS, the goals, principles, and systems, but the 5 R's to um, to recognize and validate what you see, reject it, replace it, release it, reinforce it. Like there were just so many key points. See, I got it all right here in my book, in my story. There were just, whew, I'm getting high again. Good high, legal high. Um, I guess the other high is legal too, but this is the other high. This is the Vyrós high, okay? But nonetheless, thank you. Thank you for creating a community of beauty, of professionalism, of personal growth, of passion, of connection, of safety. Thank you just for building a community of promise, um, and a safe space to release the things that have kept us bound, or that a safe space of things to release things that have hindered us from truly driving into and deep diving into our purpose. I am activated and I am excited for what's next. So, um, is there anything that you need of me, Mr. Aaron Victor, as we prepare for VROS 2026?
Yeah. So first of all, I'd be remiss if I let this moment sit where people are like, man, that dude's this smart. Dude, man, this dude's this brilliant. God is very kind to me, and I don't want to dismiss that,
Amen.
because I will say this is if you get a level of clarity, through praying and being submitted to something greater than yourself, mine happens to be Jesus Christ, through the power of the Holy Spirit, is that He will show you what to do.
Mm,
I am clear on that. He will show you what to do. And for me, my brother and I had a conversation yesterday, and I just began to start crying. And he was like, "What's that? What's that? Where's that come from?" I said, "It's because for years the enemy, as somebody who physically is 6'8", who has been able to do some amazing things throughout my academic career, my athletic career, to my corporate career, that the enemy had me convinced that I was small,
mm,
had me convinced that I was small."
mm, mm, mm,
And my gift back to the world as someone who knows what that feels like is to never have people feel like they have to play small, they have to dumb down, and they have to clip their wings. But
mm.
in order for people to be able to do that, they have to feel for the first time it's safe to believe that there's more than what I'm at, than what I've been experiencing.
Yeah.
They have to feel like they're surrounded by the right people because maybe the people they've been around, their parents, their friends, their boyfriends, even their husbands or wives, have not been to safe places and don't really get them because somebody said this. It's like, Aaron, I love when you said that just because they don't know how to handle you don't mean that you crazy.
Mm.
And a lot of people are walking around feeling like they're crazy and trying to fit into boxes that they don't belong in. That was
Yeah.
me playing and being small. And so just really having the more insecure version of me, the previous versions of me at my in my forefront, in my prayers, in my journaling time, in my meditation, gives us the ability to be able to create what it is that we created, and then the stewardship of how do I get things involved. And when we look at Vyrós 2025, the person that I knew, quote unquote, the least of anybody was actually Dr. LaRonda. And I
Mm.
met her earlier this year. But we go from Jaurice, that's over 30 years. Josiah, over 30 years. My brother and sister, we grew up together. We go with Joy. Now that's going on 20 years. Um, everybody that hit the stage. Steph, who actually led us in praise and worship, on Sunday for worship. I've known this dude for over a decade now. So these are relationships that are connected directly to me that when I
Mm.
say you all you have is everything you need is there.
Yep.
It's just do you believe enough that it is possible and that you are the one to be able to lead the transformation for the other previous version of you that wish they had you. And so
Mm.
that's my heart is I wish I had me. And so now since I do have me and I actually have other people who embody the same heart, it puts us in a position that now we can be able to create an environment that people feel heard, seen, and valued, safe to explore for the first time, to believe that they can leave the world a better place in which they found it, turn the world upside down, live and leave a dream. And we're gonna celebrate hard. We're gonna love hard because we overcome by the word of our, by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. But you got to be connected to God's truth, God's love, and God's people. That's Vyrós.
That's, excuse me, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And that's it. Thank you so much, Aaron Victor. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
folding me into this amazing space and community. And I'm excited for what's next. Holler.